Okay, feel free also to jump in and share any stories that you may have about phishing emails or friends or family that maybe you know that got caught up in one of these scams. So basically, a phishing email is an email that's sent to you unsolicited, meaning you didn't start the conversation. It just showed up in your box, in your email box. And it's an attempt to get you to click on a link within that email or to click on an attachment with the email in order to con you into giving up some of your private information, like your login information, your password information, things like that, social security numbers, credit card numbers, things like that. Criminals are very smart. They're always one step ahead of us, and they're very good at making these emails look like they're real and that we need to actually do something that they're asking us to do. This is the most common method that criminals use to try to separate you from your private information. They can send out hundreds, thousands of these emails at a time, hoping that people will fall for them and click on the links that are included and give away their private information. So what happens if you fall for a phishing email? There's a number of things that can happen. One, your login information can be compromised, and this means login information to just about anywhere. A lot of people use the same passwords for various sites. That's one thing that you should never do. You should keep a different password for all your different sites that you visit regularly. And I know this can be a problem, keeping up with passwords, but there are a lot of very good password managers that can be used, found in apps. And actually GetSetUp does have a class on password managers taught by Wade. And I encourage you to take that class if you can. He goes into detail on password managers and how they can be used and how good they are in helping you stay safe. So also, if you fall for one of these emails, your data can be compromised. Excuse me. People can get into your system, get into your network, open a backdoor can be created so that they could like implant malicious software on your computer, or possibly even ransomware where they could lock up all of your files where you couldn't even access your files on your computer. So these are just a few things that can happen if you fall for a phishing email. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's take it a phishing email here. This is one that came from a friend of mine. She actually got it in her email. And it says, this is the last chance to log in and regain your access to your Amazon.com account. I'm assuming it's got a notice number on there with some weird symbols in it. It looks kind of strange. It's got the Amazon logo on it, so it looks real. It says, dear customer, for your protection, your Amazon ID is automatically locked. Now, these emails will always have a reference to your account being locked or suspicious activity or something like that. On down below this email on the bottom here, it actually has a little link that says click here to unlock your Amazon ID. And it also said in this particular email, your credit card number ending in 4321 has been compromised. And so on this particular email, the friend of mine, the last four digits, you know how they put them in XXX, the little format they'll put it in and give the last four numbers. The last four numbers were actually the last four numbers of the credit card she had on account for this, for Amazon. And so she was very concerned that something may be wrong with her Amazon account. So she actually clicked on the link, and it took her to a page. It looked just like Amazon's site. It asked her to log in again, in which case she put in her login information. It asked her to reconfirm her credit card information. She put in the credit card number, the expiration date, and the next field asked for that 3-digit magic number on the back of the credit card. And she stopped because she knew that she should never put that in unless she's actually ordering something. So she backed out of everything, didn't submit any of that information, and called me and asked me what she should do. And because the credit card she had online account for Amazon happened to be her debit card, I told her to call her bank and tell her bank what had happened and to see if there was any problems with her account, because someone could have done a screenshot of that page or whatever, while she was on it, and they had access to all of her information. So she called her bank, and the bank said no, there had been no suspicious activity, but they did instruct her to cut up that credit card and that they would send her another one. So she didn't have any damage done from interacting with this email, although she could have very easily. But she did have to wait 3 or 4 days to get her card in the mail. And it's my understanding, though, you can't, if this happens and you have to get a new card, you can actually go to the bank, your agency, and pick up a new card. But she was very lucky that nothing happened with this as she interacted with it. So looking through here, just at this part of the email, the red flags that you'll see are words like last chance or any other time limit to act upon the request. It's kind of like a high pressure sales tactic. And you see that right up top here. This is the last chance you have. So that's kind of high pressure there. Another thing you may see in these phishing emails are misspellings in the subject line, or possibly even things worded in a way that's not normal how we talk. Because a lot of these come from outside of the United States, and people don't speak English real well or don't have a good understanding of the English language. And so a lot of times what they're saying, you can get the gist of what they're saying, but it doesn't really sound right. So on this one here this isn't a misspelling, but it's actually a font that doesn't match the others. So that's a big red flag right there too. Your strange reference numbers, they will always have some kind of a reference number in there. And reference numbers, they are kind of weird looking nowadays, but if you notice in this one, it's got brackets around it. It's got hashtags in it, things like that. So this is kind of a red flag also. And there will always, always be a reference to your account being locked or suspicious activity on your account or something like that. So these are the big red flags for a phishing email. Now, let's say perhaps you maybe recently did make a purchase on Amazon that you were kind of concerned about. Maybe it was a little bit costlier than normal, and maybe you thought that you really wanted to check with Amazon to make sure that nothing was wrong with your account, or that nobody had hacked into it or anything like that. That happens sometimes because these emails look very real. So the thing that you would want to do is to actually call Amazon customer support and find out if there's been any suspicious activity on your account or if your account was locked. Now, that being said, you want to go to Amazon.com and find the customer support number off of their website. Or if this, say, for example, was from Netflix, you want to go to Netflix.com and find their customer service number. Don't Google the customer service number for Amazon or the customer service number for Netflix or whatever. And the reason for that is because criminals take out ads to advertise and offer up what they say is the customer service number for these companies. And it's not the customer service number. It's a scam also. If you were to dial those numbers that show up in Google, odds are that it would take you just to a bank of criminals sitting and waiting for you to call in and say, hey, I got an email that said something was wrong with my Amazon account, so I'm calling to find out what's wrong. So if you do want to call any of these companies, whether it's Amazon, Netflix, your bank, any of these other companies that we interact with a lot, go to their actual website to find the customer service number and call that number. Here in Houston, about 2 months ago, there was a young man that just started working for Amazon, delivering packages with his own vehicle. They have a way that you can work for Amazon, and you go to a pickup locker and work with an app that Amazon has, and you pick up different packages to deliver. And he had an issue when he went to the pickup locker to get his packages. This was his first drive. And so he Googled the Amazon number and got a criminal number, and actually ended up losing all of the money in his bank account because they had him give his credit card number, his bank card number again, under the guise of, so that we can pay you when you're finished. They needed that information again to verify his account, et cetera, et cetera. So be very careful when you're looking up these phone numbers for these companies.